Throughout the world, things have changed. At one point in time, the United States was looked at throughout the world as this, beacon of hope, morality. If you want to be like anything, be like the United States. But the invention of social media and the truth getting out outside of the control of the mainstream media, people are seeing the truth. And people looking at America very different. Now, a lot of this sparked off when people seeing the video of George Floyd. People was very, shocked. They couldn't believe something like that. But this has been the history of America for Black Americans. Understand? These are the reasons why Black Americans are still, fighting to progress. We never had our time for it to be ended. Understand? So while we're still fighting sabotage, we're still fighting issues that you see here. Understand, America's policies and how this country was built was off of anti-Black racism. Now, they were saying that among, Africans, they said anger and criticism spread, widely on social media platforms. And they say even the African Union had gotten into that controversy at the time. Now, they did condemn the murder of George Floyd, but even Republicans condemned that one because that was that bad. Now, even in Zimbabwe, they had summoned the U.S. ambassador to explain George Floyd's death. Now, see, they don't tell you that in the media that African nations was asking, these ambassadors, like, what is going on? Like, what the hell? You get what I'm saying? I mean, because they don't like to tell you that African nations do ask questions, or some of the brothers and sisters on the continent do care. Many of them have told me, when I see that video of George Floyd, I really start looking into the history of America. And then some of you make comments about them and say, they don't know about America. No, they really wasn't educated about America at all. They weren't even educated about their own history. Let me tell you that. Their own history of colonialism in a lot of these African nations, the same white supremacist system formed their education over there too, and just transferred it over to Black hands during independence. And now it's going to take them to unravel that education system and teach the real history of their particular nations, the continent, and throughout the world. Understand? So they're getting education, and through videos like what we're presenting today. So recently on our community tab, we made sure on every channel we posted the top 10 countries that view our platform. And look at that. It's throughout the world. People are watching and getting news and information, right? So it's on us. It's on some of you who making content to present the right history, present the right narratives that's going to tell the truth all the time. Don't lie to nobody. Just tell the truth. So with that, what happened to George Floyd, they said their attitudes across the world represent the most recent episode of a long global history of Black protests and activism they've seen against anti-Black racism. So the last century, it said the United States projected itself as a global leader of liberty, democracy, and freedom. But people got to see America's card pull with George Floyd. So they said that, example, internationally, the U.S. has supported racist European colonial regimes like the apartheid South Africa until the 1980s. And now we have a lot of South Africans that watch our show. They are the #1 African nation that watch our show. And shout out to my brothers and sisters in South Africa. See, my South African brothers and sisters, they relate to us with white supremacy because they're still dealing with some of that, the remnants of apartheid in South Africa. So this government did support that. And let me tell you something, this government still supports that Mzungu minority that's over there in South Africa. That's why some people in your government is afraid to do certain things, because they look at Zimbabwe and what the EU and the US did to Zimbabwe with the sanctions. And so they kind of caught in a rock and a hard place, right? But the only way you can get around sanctions is African nationalism and African independence. But that's a video of a different day. They said that when pressure, listen, I want my brothers and sisters in South Africa to listen to this. And we talked about this before. When the pressure came, led by Black Americans, pushed it to change its course. So we led the charge to change their course. It said, additionally, their part of history domestically, like apartheid South Africa, they said the U.S. has unleashed the state machinery like dogs, water hoses, batons, rubber bullets, and worse, right? To do different things for us in the civil rights movement. So we had a boycott South Africa movement, right? And we had pressed this government to do something about apartheid. So it's not that we didn't even get involved. We felt that we saw what our brothers and sisters going through in South Africa. They said that's nothing but Jim Crow. That's nothing but what we were dealing with here. And we have made, listen, Black America has stood up and fought for everybody. Okay. So when you hear Black Americans say, hey, don't come in this country from other places and disrespect us like that, because 9 times out of 10, we fight for you. We have been the loudest voice in the diaspora is Black Americans fighting for all people who are Black throughout the world. And I'm not saying we, kiss our butt, but I'm saying when you come in over here, just those who doing it, put some respect on our name. Now, I know we go to the continent, we get much respect. They know you Black American, they tell you welcome home, and they're happy to see you. And we got that respect because we are the fighters. So understand that. But continuing. So what people, saw throughout the world with the civil rights movement, what happened, in the 60s and all of that. In the 60s, activism was spread abroad, and the African Union, they at that time period passed a resolution condemning racial discrimination in the United States. And then when we had fought for freedom, all the African nations started getting independent. Understand, we are so tied to the freedoms of the world. So if you notice, even whatever we do, good, bad, or indifferent, it affects the rest of the Black world. You understand? So if we are listening to a certain type of music, we dress in a certain kind of way, you can go to other countries in African nations, you can go to Asian countries, wherever, you're seeing the Black American influence there. So we are global leaders and we understand that position that we have. So people are seeing all this history unravel. More and more people throughout the world are researching, finding out what happened to the civil rights movement, finding out what happened. Why did they have the Million Man March? I mean, just all the different people, they're watching this, and it's waking people up throughout the world to, hey, wait a minute, hold on. We got a wrong idea. We're starting to find out the truth. And this is what, white supremacy did not want. They did not want the truth getting out. And that makes people free once the lies are being stripped away and the truth is being embraced. All people I talk throughout the world, when they say United States, the first thing they say in relation to us is, yeah, America, that's one of the most racist countries out there. They all say it because they've seen the history. Some people even came over here, and that's an ugly, very, very ugly thing that for America to be labeled like that, because that's what America is doing. Now, if America wanted to change its perception, and for just a little bit, they gave a changed perception with the presidency of Barack Obama. And that's why a lot of people was excited throughout the world to see Barack Obama and say, oh man, maybe America has finally changed. But we saw after the election of Barack Obama, America did not change whatsoever. We seen the things that Barack Obama was doing didn't benefit the Black community toward the end of the day, benefit other people outside the Black community, but didn't benefit us. Because think about it, we had Barack Obama, but then everybody saw George Floyd. Now, if they really wanted to change their image throughout the world, they'll pay reparations to the Black American community. They will get rid of things like qualified immunity. They will make sure to close the racial wealth gap. They will truly make things equal, like make sure Congress is equal, make sure the Senate is equal with enough proper representation, because we don't have that. How is it you have all these different races of people in this country, but yet when you look at the roster of Congress, it's an all-white affair just about. That's what it is. They make it where regular people can't even run, because you need millions of dollars just to run for public office in a lot of these places. So you're not serious about equality at all. And the rest of the world seeing that. So you can't go to other people's countries and tell them about morality when they seen videos like George Floyd, when they see what happened to Breonna Taylor and many, many others. So people throughout the world, ladies and gentlemen, are watching. And you don't think that bothers the white supremacists that people throughout the world look at them that way? Now, some of them don't care, like it is what it is. But some of them do care because it affects their business and they don't like that. So they'll give some Black people some token positions and say, see, we're not being racist. Look, I got Jamal up here. He's Black. You get what I'm saying? But no, it doesn't mean anything until you give Black people was old. It's just that simple. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the situation, with people throughout the world looking at America as the central of anti-Black racism. Like I said, this is something they did themselves. This is not nothing propaganda. This isn't lies. People could clearly see the history, clearly see what happened in 2020. And if they want to change that particular label that they created on themselves, well, they got to do right by the Black American community. It's just that simple.